everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm the Legally Blind Bookworm, and today's video is the last 4 books in my color-coded challenge. So this will finish up my color-coded challenge and the fun I've had searching for these books. These last 4 books were a bit harder to find a book that fit into the categories of the colors, but I did end up finding them, but had to search for a couple of them. So as always, linked down below will be the link to my blog where you will find all of the books that fell into this challenge. You will also find the link to the original post that talked about the challenge. And along with that, you will find the link to my Facebook and my Instagram. As always, the links down below for all the books will include the title, the author, the NLS catalog number, and the Goodreads link. So let's get on to these books.
Brown. For the color brown, I chose the book, The Book Thief.
The Book Thief was a book that I actually heard one of my friends talk about that she had just finished reading, and she didn't know anything about this book prior to reading it. And then I ended up finding out that about a month ago, it was one of the books that was on the monthly reads in the Blind Audio Book Club on Facebook. So I ended up reading it, not really knowing a whole bunch about this book, just kind of knowing the background of this book. So this book is a historical fiction book that takes place in Germany around the Nazis, where unlike the Anne Frank diaries, this actually is from the perspective of a non-Jewish person living in Germany. And I would also say they're probably not for Hitler, but they're not against Hitler either. I would say they're kind of in the middle. So it follows a young girl and basically her life in this small portion of time in Nazi Germany. It is quite interesting having it from a different perspective, and actually it's a little bit more of a different perspective that I didn't even realize until the very end. And I'm not going to spoil it, but it's a bit different than what I think a lot of people would anticipate from this book, and it gave it a completely different overview on this book. I had mixed feelings about this book. I believe the overall storyline I really did enjoy, although it did take me a couple times of starting and stopping this book to be able to get through it. The ending was probably the hardest of it to get through. Where it was sad, it was also happy, which is definitely a harder thing to have to deal with at the end, but I'm not sure how else they would have done it. There were a lot of pieces and parts of this that I really didn't know about, because a lot of books you hear from this time frame are from the Jewish perspective, not the other perspectives. So there was a lot of different feelings and a different way of life and just different experiences that these people had that the Jewish people would not normally have, or from a different perspective. So it was definitely a good read, but just a bit harder for me to get into.
Green. For the color green, I chose the book, Rock Chick Rescue.
So Rock Chick Rescue is actually the second book in the Rock Chick series that's written by Kristen Ashley. So Kristen Ashley is an author that I've had a couple other books in other challenges by her. She was one who wrote the Dream Man series, and I really did enjoy that, so I ended up downloading the Rock Chick series, which I do have most of the books in the series downloaded currently onto my phone. This was, like I said, the second book in that series. This is actually, I believe, the first series that she ever wrote. It is definitely a good book, and I definitely did enjoy it. This is a romance novel, and I think I really do enjoy Kristen Ashley's writings, and it just happened to fall into the green cover.
Another color, orange. For the color orange, I chose the book, James and the Giant Peach.
So James and the Giant Peach is another whimsical book by Roald Dahl, and I've definitely had a fun time reading a bunch of the Roald Dahl books that I actually have read as a child. This was one that I've actually never read, so this was a first for me to read, and it definitely wasn't disappointing. And it is just, like I said, it's a whimsical Roald Dahl book, and I think a lot of us probably know the storyline, and I do believe there's a movie. I haven't even watched the movie yet, so I don't know anything about this story until I read the book.
Color description. For the color description, I chose the book The Shadow and the Star.
So, The Shadow and the Star was a book that I ended up searching for, trying to find the category that fit into just another descriptive word or a descriptive phrase or whatever that had to do with the cover. So, of course, this is Shadows, which does fall into this category. I had high hopes for this book. Shadow and the Star is the second book in the Victorian Heart series, and I ended up reading the first one, which was a little hard to get into, was a bit long, which is funny because normally the length of the book doesn't really bother me a whole lot because I do end up reading them faster than the normal speed. The first one was a bit hard to get into, but once I did get into it, I really did enjoy the storyline. It still felt a little long, but I was highly anticipating the second book, which is where The Shadow and the Star comes in. I had a hard time reading this book. It took me a long time, longer than it would have normally taken me. I stopped and started this book, I think, a handful of times. I ended up listening to other books while in the middle of this book, which is not something I normally do. I just had a really hard time. It felt very long. Um, I think it had some good parts in it. I think the overall storyline could have been really good. Um, I think that the characters' storyline and history could have been portrayed a lot better. Um, I think there was some information that was really good in there. And in regards to the hero's history, and stuff like that. And I think it was an anticipated book after reading the first book. Um, but for me, this book was really long, and honestly, I ended up having to go on to Goodreads and reading the comments to find out whether or not I was missing something out of this book or whether my thoughts on this book were like others. And I normally don't do that. I normally just use the description of the book to base it on whether I do want to read this or not. This is a historical romance based around the aristocrats in Europe, which is normally a subject I really do enjoy, and have had a couple other books recently that fell into this category that I did enjoy. But unfortunately, this was not one of them. I don't know if there's going to be any more books written by or on this subject in this series, but I think I am done with the Victorian Heart series. I'm debating on whether or not I am going to read any more by this author. Um, I'm hit or miss, and I'm really not sure. I'm really torn of whether this is her writing style, as the first book was similar to this writing style, but was a little bit better than this book, or if this is just a fluke and that some of her other books are better. So I'm really not sure. I don't like telling people that this book is bad, and I would definitely not read it, but I guess that's part of this channel, is to find out what the books are and if they are any good. I normally enjoy most books. Very few books are really hard and I really don't like them, although there has been some. Um, Generally speaking, I enjoy the writing style, just not the storyline a lot of times. But I think more or less this was a writing style that I didn't like over a subject line. So, um, if you do like it, hey, comment down below. I'd love to hear your opinions if you really did like this book. If you haven't read any books by her, you know, you might try it. I'm not going to say that because this is my opinion and my opinion only. But definitely for me, if there's any more in this series, I am not going to end up reading them. And like I said, I don't know if I'm going to end up reading any more of her books. So that's it. That's the end of the color coded challenge. So I'm going to be posting a video after this video posts that will include all of the books for the entire challenge. And just as a recap, with this challenge being done, I'm going to end up starting a new challenge, so watch for the video. I already have a couple subjects that I know I'm going to end up doing for some different challenges. So make sure you watch for those. I've already kind of based which one I'm going to end up doing, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's definitely going to have me searching for some more books that are not my typical reads and searching for information that normally I wouldn't be looking for in books. So I'm really excited about this. This couple of these are coming from some booktubers that I've recently come to enjoy reading or watching their videos and reading some of their books. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram for all of the current reads, and make sure you also follow me with the 16th of every month. I'll be posting what is on my downloads on my phone, so just make sure you check back in and keep on reading.
If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and make sure you ring that bell for notifications.